For most people, they wonder why did we include the sales process into this program? It's very important because whatever you're doing, you're definitely going to sell yourself. Even if you don't want to be an entrepreneur, you're not selling physical products, you have to sell your CV, sell your skills, and all of that for you to actually make it as you grow or to make so much money. You have to sell. I hear people say, I don't want to sell. I'm not a salesperson. You everybody sell. Is either you sell or you get sold, right? So it's just what it is. The sales process is basically a series of steps that a salesperson, now you, can take to convert a potential customer into an actual customer. There are steps to it, and I'm going to be illustrating it now. This is a typical sales program, and I'm going to be showing you how you can actually apply this to your personal life. First, prospecting. Identify your potential customers or who are likely to be interested in your product or services. First, identify who is interested in that. Let me use an example because most people don't sell products, so they might be discouraged. So identify the potential companies that you want to work for or that need your services or that you want to hire you. So after you do that, there are so many companies that may exist. The next thing is to qualify, evaluate prospects to determine if they're a good fit for a product or service. For example, when I graduated from school, I needed to do an internship. Now, the first thing I needed to know was that not all hospitals were approved to do internship for my program. Most teaching hospitals, general hospitals could do it. Some mini clinics could not, and not all private hospitals were approved to do to take the internship program for medical students. And so the first thing I needed to do was get to the council, my council office, and get the list of all the hospitals that were approved to do internship in Abuja because I was in Abuja and I didn't want to go out of Abuja. So there are places also outside it. So do you see what I mean by prospecting? So when I got to the next thing, I began to qualify. I needed an internship position that will not have, they don't have call duty, they don't have serious emergencies. They just work maybe like 8 to 4, and that was it. Because I had a 2-year-old son, I didn't have help, and I was still trying to get a hang of my life. So I narrowed it down. I think we had maybe about 10 or 15 health centers that could do that. And I narrowed what I needed down to just three that qualified that. Do you see? So you prospect and then you qualify. The next thing is to build rapport, developing a relationship with the potential customer. I tried to go there. Now, one of the places I identified were places that were not easily accessible. The National Assembly Clinic, the State House Clinic, and then I think Civil Defense Clinic. Was it Civil Defense or the Supreme Court Clinic? Now, the next thing I needed to do was to build rapport. I first identified who the CMD was for the Supreme Court Clinic, and I went to LinkedIn and I followed him. I created a connect for him and I began to study him, research about the clinic. For the National Assembly Clinic, I tried to go in, but in the National Assembly in Abuja, in Nigeria, you can't just walk in there. You have to have an appointment, they have to book you, they have to screen. And I didn't have anyone who was working in there that could give me a pass to get there. Then for the State House Clinic, I was just asking people because that one is even worse, no go area. So I had tough places that I had no connect. So I first established my rapport in the Supreme Court Clinic, then tried to identify when do they usually take interns in the year, how many rounds of interns do they take, how many cohorts, and all of that. So I was trying to do that. So because I had that in my mind, I was carrying my CV and my application everywhere just in case I come across. I eventually came across someone who knew a dentist who worked in the State House Clinic. So he called me to come, and then I went and he asked me to submit my documents. We're not taking at that time, and I was waiting for feedback. Then one day I was going for one program and I just found out that I saw a signboard somewhere, the National Assembly Clinic Annex. I never knew they had an annex. That's aside the clinic in the main National Assembly complex. They had an annex somewhere else in another location. So immediately I saw that, I told the Uber that was taking me to, please hold on, wait, please. I want to go in here. And I didn't even know where that was close to where I was actually going for my meeting or seminar. So I paid the driver and then he left and I got in there and I told the gate man, I said, and funny enough, that place was easier to walk in. Just there were no security and we just needed to walk in. So just the gate man. So I asked the gate man, please, I'm going to the lab, and he's directed me to where it was. And I got there and I greeted and I'm like, Hi, good afternoon. I bent my name. My name is Excellence Joshua. I'm a graduate of Medical Laboratory Science from the University of Ibadan. I specialized in hematology and blood group serology. I'm really looking for a place to intern, and I really want to work with National Assembly, but I've not been able to penetrate the main National Assembly office annex to submit my application. I don't have anybody to take me in. Please, can I submit my application here, or do you know how I can go about it? Now, the first thing the guy that was there did was what was this? So bold, so forward, not scared. Like I just downloaded all of that at that point, and the guy was, oh wow, okay, okay. He was interested. You okay? Sit down. Let me finish this. I'll get to you. Anyway, I don't want to bore you with the long story, and I don't want this lesson to be long. While we're there, other members of the team had actually gone to have lunch. And he said, yes, this is actually the annex, but you have to go to the CNS office. The CNA is called the Clerk of the National Assembly. You have to go there and submit your application. I was like, nobody to take me in. Okay, now that you work here, that means you can actually give me a letter to get me in. Can you please give me a letter? Then I will just go in by myself. And he said, you know what? We always rotate. I'll be on duty there on Monday. You know what? Let's meet in at the front of the gate, and then we'll go in together. I'll grant you access. So I said, okay. I took his number. While I was going, I greeted him. Other members of team came, and he was telling them, oh, this lady came and she's looking for internship and all. And they were like, oh, that's nice. I met one very beautiful woman, and I asked her, I said, ma, please, who is actually in charge of this thing? It's definitely not the CNA. Who is the CMD of place? It's not the C. They now told me that it's not the CMD. That is the director of medical lab services that will actually screen. And I said, what is his name? And they told me. And I said, what's the name of the CMD? And they told me. This information were not online. They were not updated online because I think it was relatively new. I went and began to Google about them. Who are they? What have they done? What kind of people are they? Where are they from? And that Monday, I was there 30 minutes earlier than he planned or that he told me. And I waited. When he came, we got in. Now, where we got in, this guy was a junior staff. So for some reasons, the staff there were late that day, and the director was so mad at them and queried them and even told them they were not permitted to enter the lab. So they were in the waiting area in the clinic. So we're waiting, and because of that animosity, he was supposed to introduce me to the guy and beg for me. But the guy was not so happy with them. So he was like, okay, wait, let Oga calm down first. When he calms down, I'll take you to him. And I was like, okay. Me, I didn't know the Oga. I was just sitting down in the patient waiting area. And it was taking time, 1 hour, 2 hours. He had not, and now stood up and began to stroll in. They had a corridor with offices on the left and on the right. And I was looking at the corridor or the doors, and also the name of that guy. The name of that guy that they said is the director of medical lab services. And I went and knocked at the door, and he answered, come in. And I went in and I greeted him. And the same way I had led to that guy, I led to that guy. He was like, what audacity? How did you even get here? Okay. Anyway, I don't take applications. Go to the CNA's office. I said, sir, please, I don't have a letter. And the CNA's office is now another angle. Like, there are so many securities. You know how National Assembly can be now. You pass here, pass here. I said, please, can you help me give me a note so that I can go? He said, if you were able to get here, then you can get here there. Use the same notes you used to get here to get there. I said, sir, you don't understand. I begged the security, please, and I'm going to summarize the story. To cut the long story short, we found out that we're attending the same church, but he was attending another branch and was actually a deacon in that branch. And he was like, are you sure nobody sent you here? I said, no. Second thing we found out was that his wife was from my place. We're from the same town. This man is from the north. I would never have thought that he would have married an Igbo person. And then number three, he served in my town. He literally even served in the hospital I was born because I was born in my state. So it was just the clicks were just so much, and he now said, okay, you know what? There are no longer applications have been closed. He now calmed down, asked me to sit down, told me applications have been closed, but I should go and wait. If something comes up, he'll call me. In 2 days' time, he called me, quickly bring your CV and submit. I can submit. In like a month, they called for the interview, attended the interview, and he was like, if you do well, I'll advocate for you. But if you don't, there's nothing I can do. Now, these are places that if you don't know someone, you can't penetrate. Do you get me? You can't penetrate. And I did well in the assessment. And the story is history. I did my internship there. I didn't have to know any senator or House of Rep or any governor or something like that. So it's very important to know all these things, qualify these things, then you build the your rapport. After you build your rapport, you see I presented my solution. I told him how I was good, and I studied at the University of Ibadan. Hey, well, Ibadan, we are hot cake, we are well trained. So it was, yeah, an opportunity, and we were the first set. So they were not really scientists for Ibadan at that time. So I was like, if you come, if I come here, I'm very diligent, I'm very this, I'm very that. I literally sold myself, right? And when I was leaving, he told me, now in terms of handling of objections, he told me that they are not collecting applications, that even if I go to say in this office, applications have closed. I begged him, and then he said he was going to call me if I needed, if there was an opening. He now said I should write my number. I wrote my number and I begged him to please give me his number. He said no. I said, sir, I will not disturb you. I will not call you when you're at home with your wife or when you're busy. I will just leave subtle reminder, because I knew that he asked me to give me his number, my number, and he didn't type it on his phone. He asked me to write it down on paper and give him. Because I'm busy paper now, we can just trash it. So I did not just take the objection. I did not. I followed up on it and I closed the sale. Right. Then you close the sale, and then when I went, I will send him a message every week. A message to say, God bless you. If there's any way you think I can help, even if it's for free, please let me know. I can come and work for a bit. I stayed in touch. I stayed in touch, and I eventually got to serve there. And the final thing is upselling and cross selling. So you can now offer other services. At the end of the day, I worked with his wife had a non-profit, and I helped her set up her online media stuff and worked with her and showed her how to win grants. Do you see? So when you see the sales process, people think it's just for people selling products. No, you can use that in your personal life as well. So I want you to share with me in the comment section. Have you ever used the sales process? Maybe you didn't know this is what it was called, but you used it in one way or the other to get something. So let me know. So depending on your industry, product or service being sold, the that would determine your approach. There might be some steps you might skip or something, but the key to the success of sales process is understanding the customer needs and providing value by offering a solution that meets those needs. You have to identify what's in it for them and how they can be beneficial, how you can satisfy them is very important. It's not, don't make it all about you. So when you write to see, then your objective is all about how you want to travel, you want to this, you want that, it might be a problem. So you want to make sure that they are the primary focus, because they're the ones you're trying to get something from. Thank you very much for listening. Did you enjoy this lesson? Tell me what you learned in the comment section.